Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Noel Zone. And we are here to discuss Doctor Who Christmas specials. Not the upcoming one, of course, but the ones that we actually enjoyed. So, yeah, Christian is going to be joining me pretty soon, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about Christmas specials. So, if you guys in the chat want to tell me what your favorite Christmas special was and why, I will throw the comments up on screen and I will give them a readout as well. Before we start this stream, get into full flow, don't forget to like, share, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Yes. So, obviously, with all the talk of the upcoming Christmas special, we thought we would obviously go back in time and talk about Christmas specials of the past. And of course, when RTD did bring the show back, when Christopher Eccleston left, David Tennant's first episode, you should say, was a Christmas special. He didn't feature very it wasn't a doctor focused kind of episode. The Christmas Invasion's still up there for me as one of the best Christmas specials. I don't know what it is about it. But I always find myself going back to that one in particular, and obviously Voyage of the Damned, for anybody that doesn't know me, huge Titanic buff. We will obviously get into that as well. But Christmas Invasion, I have to say I really loved it. It was one of my having the Christmas Invasion obviously at Christmas Day was absolutely fantastic. And it started obviously the trend of Christmas Day specials. Obviously, the Christmas Invasion was directed by James Hoss, written by Russell T. Davis. So Russell proved he can actually write some decent Doctor Who there. And of course, it was Christmas Day in 2005. And the overnight views for that Christmas special, may I add, were 9.84 million, and the AI was at 84. So obviously, the Sycorax are in this one. Britain has sent a probe to Mars. It was Mars, and something goes wrong with the probe, and then obviously the guys Una and Harriet Jones, obviously is Prime Minister, finds out it's a race called the Sycorax, who are using blood to mind control the human race to scare them. It was a pretty good episode, but it had its fun moments as well. There was the part obviously where Jackie screams out, "I'm going to be killed by a Christmas tree." Christmas tree starts whirling all over. You got Rose bitching to Mickey, obviously about life on the TARDIS and time, and he just basically wants to just have it about those two. But of course, stuff goes awry, and then we are sent on this whole mad journey. And then of course David Tennant, then when his doctor finally bursts onto the screen as the doctor, it's one of my favorite parts, and a proper sword fight, by the way, there. Because Whittaker did one in Legend of the Sea Devils, and I read somewhere that they didn't even do proper training for it. But you could tell that David Tennant had done well. He's rolling Casanova probably would have helped as well. but you could tell he could handle a sword, and it was well more believable. But the Sycorax were good. I'd love to see the Sycorax actually come back. Uh, they're a they're a villain that I found very interesting. But here we go. We got Christian, and obviously we're talking about this because every time we get Christian on, we talk about the new era, and he's not actually watching, so it's not fair. So I decided that we were gonna if we're gonna talk about Doctor Who, let's talk about the good Doctor Who Christmas specials, the Christmas specials that we were all tuned in to watch reviewed. And not all of them were perfect. We did have criticisms, but overall, Christmas specials were supposed to be fun, and that was the whole idea. Of course, Chibs got rid of them, made them New Year's specials, and then we start getting preached to. But anyway, here is Christian from the Legend of the Trap. So I've started off with Christmas Invasion. Were you a fan of the Christmas Invasion? Obviously, the first Doctor Who Christmas special in obviously in New Who era. What did you think?
The Christmas Invasion, when I first started watching Doctor Who, because I was just so happy we were getting a new Doctor at the time. We were getting a Christmas special, and I was just like, all this. As far as the expectation, it was very high. I was very enjoying it. As far as the execution, and later on down the time, it didn't age too well with me because there's a lot of criticisms. There was some fun stuff, and it just, like you said, Christmas specials for me are when Doctor Who puts on. Hey, Mecharan. I'm sorry, I'm a little under the weather, guys. So it's been a month from hell as far as health wise is concerned. So that's why I haven't been on my show as much. But as far as the Christmas Invasion, it was hokey, it was fun, and I think that's what Doctor Who Christmas specials supposed to be are. It's supposed to take out the seriousness a little bit, have a good time, and something to talk about up until New Year's. And it hasn't aged for me well over time. One of the things I've always caught on is the 10th Doctor was supposed to be a man of no second chances, and he's giving everybody a second chance every left and right. So I'm just like, okay, so that didn't pan out too well, but I'm just like, that's being nitpicky. But it was fun, and that's what Doctor Who special is supposed to be. And I thought everybody was complaining because it's Doctor Who light, but I think that was the expectation of what Russell T was trying to do, was to kind of, hey, Dalek Russell, he was trying to go, oh, I'm not going to give you a doctor just yet. You're going to have some fun with the Tylers and Mickey Smith, and then gradually I'll bring on the 10th Doctor. So I thought that was played well. I know people have their misgivings about it. It was hokey. I don't know if that Torchwood ending was a great idea, but I kind of appreciate it a little bit, even though it's not the ending I would have gone
I think I know why they did the Torchwood ending, though, because obviously then when Series 2 went on, we actually got to see how evil Torchwood had become. Remember, they were using the Void to try bring through whatever they thought they were bringing through, but it turned out to be the Cybermen. So, I mean, showing that was, but the fall of Harriet Jones didn't sit comfortable with me, because no matter how desperate the Prime Minister was, she was in 10 Downing Street with the 9th Doctor, and surely she would have understood there were ways to be, you don't always have to do, because even after that whole thing with Downing Street happened, obviously, she was saying human resilience, all of this crap, and that it just felt like, to me, it was a bit of a kick in the face. That's why she got the redeeming arc in Series 4, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think Russell kind of regretted that one. I'm being honest. I think he did, because he gave her that redeeming arc where she helps obviously Captain Jack and Co to open up the subframe and all of this to try get the doctor. So I think she did even, and she even says that she thinks that she did the right thing. In fairness, I actually, it was hard for me to take that saying
Lemon, your President
because
Lemon.
even though I kind of get where she was coming from,
A good title to have.
at the same time, I just think she could have, being with the doctor, thought would have rubbed off her a bit more. And she would have made a different decision, but she was desperate and she used Torchwood, and Torchwood ended up being evil. So
Oh, it was
we
under her
saw how
direction.
bad.
Well, I mean, it did bring up a good question. I can't let that get away on that, because it did bring up a good question. Not only that, in the end, she even said, I made the right decision, even though he doesn't like it. She
Yeah,
was right.
she stuck.
He's not always there. So at
Yeah,
some point, they got to take on their own thing, and it's just like, okay, well, what do you judge right and wrong? Because you're not even here most of the time when all this crap was going down. People died around me while you were just sleeping in a TARDIS. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So for him
And
to
when he
take that
finds out she
initiative,
dies in Serious 4, you could see his reaction when he finds out that she's dead. It's very telling. You could see his reaction, and you could tell that he's actually gutted. I like Harriet.
they're on the
Harriet,
same side fighting a different war.
exactly. Because like she does make a valid point. He's not always there.
Right.
Someone's got to step up, and where does he, probably in her head, she's probably thinking, well, where does he get telling me off when he's literally destroyed, half of the universe now at this fucking stage. Well, the latest one did anyway.
Oh, I'm
Not the
not
latest
even
one.
letting. I'm
The
just
Runaway Bride was next, obviously. Again, this one was written by directed by Euro Lynn, and it was written by RTD. And this Christmas special got 9.35 million in the ratings, and again the AI was 84. So there was only a drop from that Christmas special to the next one. There was only a drop of around less than 500,000. So that wasn't bad. If you think about a full year, and he was still able to keep relatively the ratings steady, is what I would say. But again, this was the appearance of Donna Noble, a version of Donna Noble that people didn't like, but I did. I liked that in your face attitude that she had. Oh, actually, hold on. Before we go any further, actually, what I'll do is for this as well, I will rate each episode as we go along, right? So for me, because I still really like the Christmas Invasion, Christian is right. It kind of has aged badly in a way, but it's still one that I go back to. For the Christmas Invasion, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Christian, if you want to rate it, you can. You don't have to. I'm just going to rate them as I go along
no.
anyway.
Okay.
But if you want to,
I'll give it a 7. Day one, when it first was, had you asked me in 2006, I would have said 10 before it even came out. That's how excited I was. But now, as it's age 7, and that's not a bad 7. That's just there's some things. Yeah, the sick. They'll make up all these wonderful monsters and creatures, and they come up with these so talented and always challenging to the Doctor, and then they're one off. I'm like, you couldn't bring any of these guys back at all.
I know. So Runaway Bride, obviously the Rachnos, the Queen of the Rachnos. We get to see the creation of the Earth, blah blah blah, all of that. For me, again, I did like Donna's in your face, but I love the scene. My favorite scene, and that is actually when she finally makes it to the reception of our wedding, and there's your man Lance dancing with your one Neris, and everybody just seems to be having a good time. And then they all start giving out to her, and then she pretends to cry to shut them all up, and then she winks at the Doctor. That was just classic Donna. I love this story, because this story highlighted to me why the Doctor needed a companion, because Donna stopped the Doctor going too far in that episode, because we seen then later on in Turn Left what happened when the Doctor didn't listen to Donna. He ended up dying. So she was able to reel him in more than any other companion, I believe, anyway. And then when she finally joins the show, you get to see a little bit more of that. But I like this one really, 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 really a lot. I thought the first. I mean, look, we'll get into the next one. I mean, I think we're on a roll at this stage with RTD with Christmas specials because up until now, I'm happy with Christmas specials, and the Runaway Bride for me was great. Remember, obviously, Torchwood is mentioned in this again. Very, I love the way RTD would do that. Actually, he was very good at laying breadcrumbs and stuff like that. It's just such a pity which way he's gone now. But for me, I'm going to give the Runaway Bride. Um, Again, I think for me, this is another 8. Yeah, I would have to give it another 8. I actually like this one as well. I've been watching them. By the way, I've been watching Christmas specials. Obviously, when I've been resting and stuff like that. So I've been going back and watching them, like, and really enjoying them. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give this an 8. In my that's just my opinion. Christian, what do you think of this story?
I think it was a 7 as well. It didn't introduce Donna the way I would like to. I meant she kind of mellowed out, but it was just like, God, get rid of her, please. She's annoying. But as they started becoming, partners in crime and stuff, it started to mellow out. But I'm reading this based upon solely on this. And in the episode, she kind of mellowed him out because, Saxon was referenced in this one, I believe. I think you might be
Yeah,
right.
he was. Saxon was because when they blow up the Rakanos ship, they say the man over the radio says yes as Saxon's give. Yeah, so you're right. The
I think
Saxon
you're right. Yeah.
reference was mentioned in that one.
It's
Absolutely spot on.
it wasn't a bad one, like I said. The Christmas specials, even the worst ones, I will rewatch over and over.
Again, yeah, they're just I used to take the Christmas specials too serious, Christian. To be honest with you, that's why I'm re-rating these because I would have been harsh because even though it was a Christmas special to me, I didn't mind the full fun element, but as we go on, especially to the Stephen Moffat ones, the plot kind of goes out the fucking window and they become even more ridiculous. But we'll get into that later. But again, I think this was a steady one. But the one that I really do like now is up next, and it's of course Voyage of the Damned,
And
that was
I don't mean to cut you off, Noel, but I'm about to say, everybody in the chat, give us your ratings while we're giving the ratings.
yeah,
What you thought of the episodes. Go ahead and put your ratings in for Runaway Bride and the Christmas Invasion. The only thing I meant the Runaway Bride, I just felt like it was all over the place, and I felt like it didn't even know what it wanted to. And then it was like, oh, we had this hidden enemy, and I thought that was kind of cool. You saw the Earth, but then again, I'm like, it's kind of like,
well, why use Donna and all was, the plot is very thin.
Well, I was thinking like Kill the Moon. I'm like, I get the feeling if I went back into Doctor Who time, I could probably find an episode where the Run of Brave Pride and the Spider Queen would not work or something. I feel like there's an episode that just counts.
Actually, that's a good
I'm
point.
nitpicking. If it's a good episode, and if I'm just nitpicking, it's actually very positive. And there's actually one episode that we're going to come across. I hope that I can nitpick, but I'm going to give you a hint. I gave one of the Christmas specials a 10, solid. But I can nitpick.
Right. JWC with a great comment there. It was the "Don't you think she looks third" line that caused Harriet to lose the election and Saxon to get voted in. The Doctor's fault. Technically, but then you're forgetting Archangel. He was actually using the satellites to manipulate people slowly. You know what I mean? So,
and JWC, I think this is where I got to give Russell T his brilliance on this one, because this is where Doctor Who sci-fi, not fantasy RTD,
Yeah.
sci-fi, where
Yeah.
we lay down the carpet of all opinions and all topics. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to register one side or the other like Chris Chibnall.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you everything. And I'm not even going to make the bad guy, who I think is the bad guy, a bad guy. I want you to see for yourself. That's good sci-fi. That's good writing, I think, in general.
I agree with you 100%, man. Voyage of the Damned, James Strong directed this one. And of course, it was written again by Russell T. This one was released in 2007, but this is where the jump happens. Voyage of the Damned got 14.31 million, and the AI actually jumped from 84 to 86. So in 2007, Doctor Who was at its height. Well, it was at its height then, because wait till you see what happens with the next Christmas special. You're not going to believe the ratings for that one. But again, Voyage of the Damned, right? This one for me is personal, because obviously I love anything to do with the Titanic. I've been fascinated with that ship ever since I learned about it. I've even had dreams that I was on the fucking ship. It's weird, right? But I've been fascinated with that ship ever since I was told the story. And then obviously in 1980, what was it, 85 or something, or whenever it was, 80, whatever it was, they found the Titanic. And as a kid, I remember watching that on the news and just being mesmerized. Of course, it did have the sweet Kylie Minogue in the episode. And you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. You know, when Kylie kind of reinvented herself in the 2000s, I was a huge fan of her music. I've got to be honest, I think most of us were. I can't speak for everybody, but I know a lot of people were, and our music was actually doing very well. So to have such an iconic, because she is, I think people forget she was originally an actress, and then she got into the singing, and she's never looked back since. But I was absolutely over the moon when she was going to be in Doctor Who, and even better that she was going to be kind of a companion. But this is I love this episode because it shows what men are capable of doing. I think that, you know, with Max Capricorn, you know, him being, you know, thrown
you mean a
from
guy
his
in a wheelchair?
board.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the evil. Sorry, yeah, we should have highlighted that. Back then, RTD had no problem of predicting people in wheelchairs or life support units with wheels as evil, but now apparently
this had nothing to do with disability. It was a guy who wanted to live forever.
Yeah.
And this is the folly if you feel, you know, if you go down this route. It has nothing to do with anything else. He was on a life support system because he didn't want to die. So I was just like, okay, well, that's not a disability. This is a guy making a choice and screwing himself up.
Now,
there's a difference.
But there is a bit of a plot hole that later comes in to play, which I'll bring up later on, but not the actual episode itself. But there's a line in this episode that when we get to turn left contradicts, and a scene that actually contradicts what would have happened. So in Voyage of the Damned, we're told if the Titanic crashes into Earth, that's it, the whole planet is destroyed. But in turn left, when the Titanic actually crashes, it only blows up a part of fucking England. Right? That's it. Like, it doesn't take the whole world out in turn left. You have to look back. There are a few little inconsistencies from RTD, but, you know, we kind of forgive them because Turn Left is a great fucking episode, but we're not talking about that one now. But Voyage of the Damned is one of my favorites. Obviously, Max Capricorn wants to get revenge on the board after they sacked him. So his great plan is to use robot angels to basically crash the Titanic into Earth. So all the board is arrested. He has also put money into his rivals or some the rival competitors. So when the ship obviously crashes, he makes a shit ton of money, and then he was going to go off to a place where they love apparently cyborgs and metal. But the Doctor and Co. The passengers on it's a bit like the Poseidon Adventure slash Titanic slash whatever, all the tropes, but very well done. But this is one of my favorites. This is a 10 for me. It always has been and always will be. It's because of the ship that he's using, but not only that, Kylie is brilliant in this. We get to meet Wilf again briefly. Oh no, that's the first time we meet Wilf, if I'm correct in saying.
Yeah, it is. He's the guy in the
Yeah, he's the guy in that he's doing. Yeah, it's aliens. But he's decided to stay in London because that's Wilf for you. See, you can't take the soldier out of the old man. But I love it. And then of course we lose poor Kylie Astrid, don't we? And that's a little bit gutting. But yeah, this is a 10 for me. And of course I did love the couple. The couple who the wife,
I forgot
she
about
kept ringing the competition line, and then the husband finds out, and you think he's gonna blood, and you just starts, and they love and you know what, we didn't even know them for long, but in that whole episode, when he dies and she's gutted, right, I actually felt it, and then when she can no longer live and she just like saves them all, but she gives her own life to save them, but it's another way of being with her husband. I just thought that was sweet. Seriously though, 10 out of 10.
There's some characters like that they don't need to be the whole story. They don't even need to be there. They put in their story. And they make as much as an impact as somebody who's in there for maybe the whole show.
Yeah,
those two made that episode, a little bit more fun. They added something to it, unlike a certain couple, in a Orphan 55, who we would just want to just throw out the. We would throw out the Titanic within seconds. Those two characters, right, President Lemon, those two characters were amazing. And I think they had enough screen appearance where they weren't overused. They got their story out.
Yeah.
And it was enough. You didn't need to oversaturate them. They told their story. They were done by two really fun actors, and they accomplished it.
Yeah.
And even though they died, which sucks, yeah, I'm sorry, I got the chats going. I'll say it too. I'll Benny it for Benny. There you go. I've added my Benny. But for me, you're gonna hate me. 7.5.
No,
I give that.
No. Listen.
It's just like when it gets
too at the end of the day, you're gonna have. I bet you. I know for a fact, as we go down the list, you're gonna have a 10 out of 10 episode. We all do. Yeah. I'm not going to knock you for giving that a 7.5. If that's a 7.5 to you, that's a 7.5 to you. The reason why it's a 10 for me, because as I said, number one, it's got the most famous ship in it in fucking space.
Yeah.
And I just love all the characters in it. I really did. Even the old man. What was his name? Do you remember when he finds out right at the end?
And they even named the network after him. What was it? Copper.
Yeah, whatever he's. Yeah,
But if anybody got a Cobblepot, I think.
Mr. Copper or something, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
But I love when he hands him the credit card and he goes, I'm a millionaire. And it's just so sweet because he's always because he worked all his life. And that is a story, by the way, that's played or was played all over America and other parts of the world where men would be literally working until
and he was influenced
they reach
by
all
the
day. And
Copperfield, riches to save the planet with Harriet Jones. So it all tied back, how, good or bad, how the influence of the Doctor goes.
And that's the thing. He left his world because he thought he'd wasted his life, and then he ends up obviously, living on Earth, and he'll have his own. And he was so excited just to have a garden, man. That was just seriously. I love that. I really do. I love that episode. But the next one caused a little bit of controversy. I remember at the time. Because the next one was the next Doctor, and everybody was thinking that David Tennant at that stage was leaving. And we were going to get this. Now, this guy that they got to play the version of the Doctor that he did in this, what was his name? Something Morrissey.
Uh,
Oh, what was his name? People will tell me in the chat.
oh, they will. They'll write it.
Anyway,
I know it's the governor from The Walking Dead. It's more
so it was
James Morrissey?
David Morrissey.
David Morrissey.
His name was David Morrissey as well. David
Thanks,
Morrissey,
President
David Tennant. Yeah. So Andy Goddard was the one that directed this.
Thanks,
Obviously, again written by Russell T. But when you hear this, the ratings again for this one didn't drop too much. Now remember, I told you the last one was 13.31 million. Well, this one was 13.10. But the AI was still at 86,
and we were still on the David Tennant rise,
and we were still on the David Tennant ride, and this was Russell T Davies, and of course, this was obviously the episode where this guy and his family have obviously gone missing, and something got to do with one of these cyber jubilee things, and the Doctor's mind or something. Well, I forget, but basically what happens is this man thinks the Doctor, and David Tennant's Doctor arrives there, and he's shocked to find out that this version of the Doctor has a companion called Rosita, and his TARDIS is a hot air balloon. It's been a while since I've watched this one. Actually, I just finished Voyage of the Damned, so I will be watching this.
And TARDIS meant something in style. I'm like, God, I love
that.
Something time and or something tether or whatever. But it was just fun to watch. And not only that, I think because this is the height of not only Doctor Who the reboot, but Doctor Who Tennant style, because the perfect storm hit with Voyage of the Damned. And then we had the rumors that David Tennant was leaving. So the next Doctor came in. So I think this is just good marketing, because you had Kylie Minogue for Voyage of the Damned. I think that brought in the younger crowd. And then when you got to the next Doctor, everybody was going like, is this the episode that he's going to do? Tether Ariel released in style. Thank you, President Lemon.
This was the one about the big metal Cyberman, wasn't it? The Cyberman in London, Miss Harrigan. Yeah. You know what? This is not one of my favorites, I got to be honest. I like David Morrissey, I like David Tennant, I love the interaction, but that big Cyber King
a little bit just
over the top. I thought that was over the top, but was still.
How tall was this thing? I mean, he looked like the most gargantuan thing out there, and he almost fell on a city, almost wiped it out, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah,
but like I said, these are Christmas specials. These are the ones that say, you know what, we're taking the seriousness out. We're having fun. 8 for me, because I do love the interaction with both Davids. Rosita, I'm gonna give it a 7. The cherry on the top. It was fun. They kept it. Is this going to be the next Doctor? But I lose the 2 points for the Cyber King. I think. What was her name again? Miss Hardigan. Awesome. As far as evil. No, Miss Hardigan.
Miss Harrigan.
You're evil. I'm like, damn. But she was jaded evil. It was just like we understood her side and why she was doing it. We didn't need much information. She was already doing, especially around the grave site. But yeah, when it became a Cybermen episode, I think this is like, okay, whatever. Cyber King. And what was it? They were the metaphors. It's like the Cyber King shall rise or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were playing off that metaphor and just like, okay. But like I said, I will watch all these Christmas episodes again and again and again until I'm blue in the face. So I'm
same here. Look, again.
These are not dissing on these guys whatsoever.
Exactly. Do you know what though? Because even if they didn't live up to our expectations, right? At the time, we do know that the people that were making them really cared about trying to put out a decent story, a decent episode for us. Doesn't feel like that now. But as I said, I'm going to give this one a 7 because obviously the next two that are up. Now, it was a 2-parter. The 4th special dropped on Christmas Day at the end of time, part 1. It was directed by Euro Lynn, of course. And this one got 12.8 1.04 million, and the AI had jumped up again by 1 to 87. So the End of Time Part 1, I like. It's End of Time Part 2 that I absolutely despise. And I still do to this day. I mean, that regeneration just went on too long for me. Sorry, but he's still bitching to this day about it. But I love the first one. Do you know what? I'll be fair. The End of Time Part 1 and 2, I'll judge them as one story. I did like the parts with Wilf and the Doctor. I thought they were the most profound, emotional scenes in it. And the scenes with Wilf seeing your woman all the time. And people back then, I remember, were kind of saying, "Oh, is that a weeping angel?" Because the way she puts her hand over her face, all fans were making all sorts of conclusions and coming up with theories. But you know what? This I thought the monsters were silly. I thought the whole master thing, the way it was just silly. John Sim was just over the top. I think I still don't really like. I actually don't now thinking about it. Still to this day, that
it had a lot of
for me
moments.
It did, but did the great moments kind of overshadow all the shy? I don't think so. And that regeneration still to me. I mean, leave it out. I get it and all, but just fucking regenerate, will you? We were sick of you at that stage. To be honest with you, you needed to go. But I'm gonna give it a 6.
Well, this is when we started criticizing Doctor Who and just going like, remember when our doctors would just drop dead?
Dalton, yeah, Timothy Dalton was great.
They didn't have a month to go around and collecting their reward or helping people, yet everyone turning into the master. Yeah, yeah, Glenn, I agree. That was just at what point? Why would you do that? What was the point? And also, I think it would have been even further if things had changed instead that I don't know. Instead he would brought Gallifrey to Earth. I would think he would bring Earth to Gallifrey. And
and let Earth be destroyed. Exactly. That's
and take down Rassilon and just say, hey, by the way, look what I've done. You can't do this crap. You guys are trapped in your little time bubble. Here I am just walking around the universe, doing whatever the hell I want, and you can't stop me. And I do like that little confrontation between Rassilon, but like you said, this had moments. I do kind of like the regeneration scene where he gets his reward, but then I didn't. And just like, well, I'm sorry, I grew up with classic.
I'm kind of glad that he got to see Mickey and Martha again and save Luke and all of that and Sarah Jane. But you know what? I'm sorry to say, it was fucking selfish. What made his doctor more special than any other fucking doctor? No other doctor got that fucking reward. Why did his doctor have to go? I don't give a shit if he was popular, doctor. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you regenerate.
The regeneration scene, and it's just like, well,
and the consequences being with the doctor. So if Mickey and Martha had died, that's what they get for being part of the doctor's life. That's just what happens. He leaves a trail. Listen, we love him. He saves universes, but at the same time, he leaves a trail of destruction himself. Let's not kid ourselves, Doesn't always work out for the doctor. But obviously, that was the end of the day, the Tennant era Christmas specials. And then this is where we reach into the madness of Moffat's mind. Moffat, in fairness to him, though, Christmas specials, you could say, when he went a little bit more fantasy with the Christmas specials, you could understand it. Is when he was doing a Jordan series, the main series, is where I kind of had a problem with. Christmas you can kind of tolerate. Now, A Christmas Carol, I hated this when it first came out, I'm going to be honest. Flying Sharks, I thought was stupid. Right? I did. Flying fucking fish, flying sharks, come on, this is getting ridiculous now. Right? But I've watched this over the years since then. and I've grown to love this story quite a lot. This is probably one of Matt Smith's best Christmas specials, in my opinion. Now looking back, um, you see the impact again. What happens when you travel with the doctor, like that young lad? What was his name again? In a Kazran, right?
And
Because
we just
obviously
recently lost Michael too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we lost
Michael,
Catherine.
yeah, I know, yeah,
Gambaroni, or Gimber,
and he
whoever.
was brilliant in it, by the way. But this was directed by Toby Haynes,
Mhm.
Stephen Moffat, the writer, and this one respectable for his first Christmas special as well. He got 12.11, but the AI had gone from 89 to 83. So you could even then you could tell, you know, um, even RTD says that he thinks the show went stale after he went. That's why Moffat had always done his kind of soft reboot to refresh the show, and I think it worked because the first Christmas special shows it. I
It's Michael.
mean, there's not much of a drop there. There's only like 100,000, less than 100. No, just over 100,000 people less tuned in for Stephen Moffat's first Christmas special, A Christmas Carol. I do like this. This has grown on me. Abigail, obviously, the Welsh singer. What's her name? Catherine. What's it? Catherine Thomas or whatever her name is. She's beautiful as well, by the way. But what a voice! Um, and obviously her singing, harmonizing the clouds and all of this shit, save the ship. So just yeah. So a space liner containing 4,000 people. Amy and Rory are on the honeymoon. She's dressed as a copper, like she was in the 11th hour, and he was dressed as a Roman, like he was in the Stonehenge
You're
episode,
right, Peter
which
Jenkins.
yeah, which is the big, not what was it? What was it called? The Pandorica opens. No, the Pandor, whatever the fuck. I forget the names of these. I used to know these names of these episodes off by heart. My memory is getting really, really bad. But anyway,
But
there's
there's more
this
episodes
fella
too.
Kazran, and basically we find out his backstory. So then the doctor decides then to go back to his past, and it basically changes the old man. It's a nice way of kind of doing a Christmas Carol, Doctor Who style is the way I looked at it. Look, I mean, as I said, when this came out, I thought the idea of swimming fish and sharks was actually stupid. Um, but then I've kind of softened up over the years, and I've watched this a lot more over the years. And you know what? As I said, I've grown to love this so much so that I'd put it up there with Voyage of the Damned. And for me, uh, you know, thinking that back then when this came out, I criticized this and I gave it a 5, I think, at the time.
Mhm.
I've watched this ever since then, and it's grown on me, as I said, over the years. So I'm a Christmas Carol for me, and I got to be honest, is a 10. So I'm going to give it a 10.
Wow. I really
Because
thought I was in the minority for this one, but looks like two other people in the chats gave it a 10, and guess what? This is my 10 as well.
no, I'm going to no. Do you
And
know what? I got to be honest, Christian. I hate. Listen, I did. I've got to be
that's
honest with
fine.
everybody. I
I've
I did
noticed.
not like this at the time. It's only since then, and time has passed, and me rewatching it, because as you've said, it doesn't matter how good or bad the Christmas specials were, right? We always went back to them. Doctor Who, especially Jordan the Jodie Whittaker era, when there was no Christmas specials. What did I do Christmas Day? What was everybody doing Christmas Day? They
We
were
watched
sitting down rewatching the old Christmas specials that we had gotten. So, in a way, I'm actually thankful to Chibnall, because he made me fall in love with stuff that at the time I wasn't best pleased with. But obviously, watching it again a little bit older and wiser, I understand this story more. This story hits me different than it did when I watched it back then, and that's why it's a 10. So go ahead, Christian.
Well, I mean, let me go ahead and get the elephant out of the room, which everybody chastises me for this episode, is that if Kazran had seen older Kazran and what he becomes, does he not change his mind? And I'm like, I don't give a rat's. I mean, that was
Exactly.
the perfect scene, and it was Moffat firing on all cylinders for writing. I know people didn't like the sharks and the fish, but that added to the planet's character as to what was going to be revealed. You had Catherine Jenkins with her song. You had Michael Gambon, who was just perfect as Kazran. And, you could feel that he was changing. He was doing good. And then all of a sudden, the influence of the Doctor backfires.
Yeah.
And then we also get the spirit of past, present, and future fun. And we're in this world that Moffat throws around where it's just the right amount of sci-fi and fantasy mixed together. And it works out so well. You got Murray Gold's music firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
And you have just this beautiful thing. I play this for people at my house who's never seen Doctor Who around Christmas. I just say, I should play a Christmas Carol and I'll throw Doctor Who in. This is the episode that sometimes gateways them into Doctor Who. I'm like, oh my God. And this is just, for me, it's the most beautiful episode ever because it has all the characteristics where RTD was saying he wanted to bring, like the heart of things to Doctor Who, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is the one that sci-fi and the heart of that fit so well together. And even the ending where, he's about to slap himself, there were so many messages going on at that moment, especially when you see that montage of pictures going through. God,
he sees a montage of his father doing exactly what he's doing to him, and it's such a powerful moment that is, because then he realizes then in that split second that he has become his father. That's what it is. He's become his father.
He changed it, and not only that, but it added to the story because now he couldn't work the controls because he became the man that his father didn't want him to be. So there were so many excuse me, intricacies of things that were adding on to this that it just fit like a jigsaw so well for me. I mean, you can go in there and start poking and prodding, but this is the ones where I go, okay, you're right. I loved it. It's a 10. I mean, I will see, when Christmas gets closer, I will watch this again and again and again until I'm blue in the face, because this reminds me of Christmas. When it comes to Christmas episodes, this is it. And I know people still have their misgivings, but I'm just like, so what? This is
where the next one.
Turn my head and go, yeah, whatever.
I do know the next one split the fandom quite a lot. I remember this at the time. The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe, directed by Farron Blackburn, written by Stephen Moffat. But this one did get a 2 million drop, 10.77, and the AI, the AI, was it was 83 for Christmas Carol, but it went up by one back Christmas to 84. So the Doctor crash lands in 1938, and he comes across a mother called Marge, and 3 years later, a husband is obviously flying in the war or whatever it is, and he's lost. And then there's the Doctor decides that he's going to cheer these children up. I mean, just the introduction. The introduction was funny. How she met the Doctor, because they had the space helmet on his head, and that scene was funny. But after that, then you can forget about it. I hate this. Listen, I hate this episode with a passion. Never liked it. Still don't like it. I don't know why. I just don't like this one. Maybe it's because I grew up with the line "The Witch in the Wardrobe" that BBC had done years ago. And to me, I don't think anybody has ever come close to that BBC show. So when I do see BBC trying to attempt something like this, and Stephen Moffat trying to do something like this, I reckon if this wasn't Doctor Who and he was to do the classic version of the
Yeah.
story, it'd be absolutely brilliant because Stephen Moffat is great at stuff like this. But in a Doctor Who context, I don't think this worked personally. So for me, I've got to give this one a 3 because I can't give it any more than that. I don't like this. I only like one scene in it. That's it.
As a friend of mine put it, and Glenn, if you love this episode, more power to you. I hope enjoy it. I could. It's the same thing with me. I think this is somebody trying to get the line to say it. At some point, Moffat didn't think his fart stunk until he did the Christmas Carol, and he's like,
Yeah.
I can do it again. And he did the wardrobe, and he's like, nah, you can't.
That's what I mean.
And
That's what I felt like to me as well. And Glenn, listen, I echo what Christian said. If you love this one, more power to you. You know what I mean? And I say fair play. You know, we all have our different tastes anyway. But just for me, I don't know what. Maybe as I said, I grew up with that BBC miniseries years ago as a kid, and that mesmerized me, and it never left me. I've got to say. So when Stephen Moffat decided to do a Doctor Who version of it, I was actually quite optimistic because of, you know, Christmas Carol. I suppose even though I was kind of pissed off with the flying fish aspect of it, Christmas Carol, you know, when I took all
it
of that
felt like a
rubbish out,
Christmas Carol. It
it
felt like
felt like, yeah, exactly.
and
This one,
President
uh,
Lemon says it best. It's just like, what does it have to do with Christmas? I'm about to even go up and say, what did this have to do with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is what I think people were looking to. And just like the Christmas Carol felt like Christmas Carol. And
yeah.
this didn't feel like Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. They started off and then it just
Yeah, and then it
rolled
just
on through.
skewed into something completely different. Look, I like the wooden king or whatever he was. I like all of that stuff, but it was just it was Moffat again trying to be overly clever when he didn't need to be overly clever. He just needed to keep it simple. And if he actually had you know, properly integrated the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe into this, I think it would have been a great feat, to be quite honest with you, because think about witches. We've done witches in Doctor Who very good, right, in the Shakespeare Code, right? But obviously they weren't really witches; they were aliens. But you could have done something like that. You know what? You could have brought them back, the Karenites. You could have brought them fucking back, right? There's your witches. As for the lion, I don't know who
Yeah,
you'd bring to represent the lion, but you could have done something. This is what I'm trying to say. So I don't like this one. I have to be honest. So I'll move
I
on because I
will
don't want
watch
to.
it. I will watch it again over what I think is going to happen in a week. But I was just like, it's not horribly bad. And trivia for anybody, the first female doctor is actually in it, way before Jodie Whittaker. And if anybody understands that, Annabelle Weir was one of the technicians with Bill. What's his face? The comedian, the musician comedian with the long hair. They were like the scavengers, not the scavengers. They were the ones who plowed down things beforehand. Well, Annabelle Weir was the Big Finish in a Big Finish when they did the What Ifs series, and it was Exile. And Annabelle Weir was the first female doctor, as far as I'm concerned, on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Bailey. Thank you, Peter.
Right. We will finish on. We'll do a part 2 of this, by the way, because
Yeah.
Christian has to head off in 3 minutes, and we still have a few more episodes to talk about. So we'll leave them for now. So we'll finish off with this one, which is The Snowmen, and it was directed by Saul Mistein, and it got 9.87 in the ratings, and it was the AI actually jumped up by 3 this time. It went up to 87, and obviously this is the Doctor who's just lost Amy and Rory, and he comes across Victorian Clara, who we all wanted, Moffat. Just want to get that out there. You stupid tick, you picked the wrong Clara. Anyway, the great intelligence, Strax, is in this episode as well. Look, I actually really like this one. I had a good bit of humor in it, believe it or not, even though it was supposed to be kind of a serious story. The Doctor again, you could see him. Obviously, we got Vastra and Jenny are in this as well. So the gang is reunited, and they're trying to obviously get the Doctor out of his melancholy. And obviously, it takes this curious woman, Clara, to kind of bring him out of his shell, and then all hell breaks loose. And we've got Richard E. Grant in it playing obviously the Great Intelligence. Well, I mean, he plays the face, but the Great Intelligence was voiced by someone else. But not to confuse things, let's just say it's Richard E. Grant, who I like as an actor. Got to be honest, I was delighted he was in this. Again, you know, this was a good story. I mean, the special effects in this one were pretty good as well. You got your woman coming, and you know the old what was it, a housekeeper or wherever she was, Chalma, coming out of the ice and stuff like that.
Right.
That was pretty impressive. I did like this story actually. But this was Moffat. I think Moffat was doing Sherlock at the time, and again, you know, the Great Intelligence people were, you know, there was a lot of Doctor Who and Sherlock references to Sherlock being made and all in this at this stage. But I do like this one. I think the next few kind of going downhill after that. I think this is the last Christmas special that I really like. So I'm going to give this 7.5 because I don't think it's as good as the rest that we've mentioned so far.
Well, I'll give it 7.5. I do like the scene on the roof where the Doctor's kind of training and playing with Clara. It's just like, what do we do? It's like they're about to get killed, and he's doing a little training lesson. She figured it out. So I kind of like that little spread. Yeah, I like the. Everybody loves the Pasternatter gang. Hello, Chris. Thank you there. Hey, President Lehman. Yeah, and I could see where people didn't like the episode, and you know, it gets weird and stuff.
It does get weird, but I like that. I mean, this was an episode where I think he kind of just went with it. You know, he didn't give a shit what people thought. I actually like when Moffat does that sometimes because it does pay off. I do like this one. I just
backfires on the guy.
I just think that the big mistake that he did actually make in this though was not keeping Victorian Clara, because that would have been the best Clara to take on. Not the fucking one that we ended up getting that ended up thinking she was better than the fucking Doctor, but we'll get into that some other time. But I'm going to let Christian, we're going to wrap it up there. So I'll put part 1 beside this when I re-edit it on YouTube. I'll put part 1 because we'll do part 2. Now, are you with me next week, Christian? Because next week is what is next week?
We'll see. It's the day after Christmas, so
day after Christmas. So if he's not, it'll probably be the week after that then. So it'll be the new year. Right, guys? So we'll do a part 2 because there's still a few more to talk about, and there's plenty to talk about, trust me. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to both of our channels.
Hey, Lindsay.
And Christian's going to do his shout outs, and then I'll let you know what I have up and coming on the channel, and we will leave it there. So Christian, knock yourself out, not literally, but let everybody know what you have coming up.
All right, now I have upper respiratory infection. That's why I'm glad I'm over here, you know, in another country, not getting anybody sick over there. But yeah, Legend of the Traveling TARDIS on our Facebook and YouTube channel. We're putting up all the Christmas delights out there. I'm trying my best while I'm sick to put out a video, a short daily, having some fun with some Christmas stuff, with some Daleks and stuff. You just go over to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS on the YouTube channel. I put up a couple videos up there. If you just want to get away from Doctor Who, but still want to have the fun of it, we got shorts. My team, while I've been trying to recover over my health, just having, you know, just taking care of family and stuff for the holidays, things just went out of control, and I needed to get back into it. But in the meantime, my team have been very kind enough to do the reviews of the 60th anniversary, which I've still not seen yet. And some people are going, "Congratulations, Christian, for making this far without seeing it." I said, "I know about them. I don't know if I want to even watch them." I'm like, "I don't even know if I want to watch the Christmas special, but maybe." Tonight, Dave will be taking hosting duties and talking about Doctor Who Christmas games, board games, you name it. Thing there. If you're looking for that special Whovian, a game that might be out there, he's got some stuff that you can try out to watch while he's working on, and just to say, "Hey, oh, thanks, Chris." So check us out, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, on our Facebook page. And don't forget to subscribe over here at the Noel Zone and his YouTube channel, and get on his membership program. I know he probably doesn't want the shoes right now, but hey, all of us can use the help, especially around during the holidays. And if you can help out your favorite podcasters, we truly appreciate that. So from the bottom of my heart, Noel, thank you so much for having me almost on every week. Just like spouting out my stuff. I've had a pleasure of doing it, and we're hoping we can do it, continue it on to the next year. And you guys, thank you for joining us. I mean, you could have done anything you wanted to. You decided to come over here, spend time with two crazy guys on either side of the planet, just talking about or at least currently right now, still maybe our favorite TV show. But I'm just glad that you guys are here just to talk. So, Lindsay, thank you, and take care of yourselves. Merry Christmas to everybody who's celebrating. Happy holidays, and whatever you do, please stay safe out there, because I want to see you next year. Take care of yourselves.
See you, Christian. Merry Christmas.
Merry
and
Christmas,
Happy
my
New
friend.
Year.
You too.
Anyway, yeah, get yourself all wrapped up there now and get some plenty of fluids into your vitamin C and all of that. So yeah, go and check out Christian's channel over at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, and Sir Ian McKellen was the voice of the Great Intelligence. Fantastic, Nicholas, for that. I am back tomorrow, where we're going to be talking about the current state of Doctor Who. Obviously, there's been some articles that have dropped that we will be highlighting and talk about the stupidity of the media. They continue to spin. Millie Gibson has come out with an article saying that this Doctor Who will definitely be aimed at Generation Z. And then we've had all the talk from Shooty and stuff like that. And yeah, RTD apparently did some thing as well, which I'm going to see if I can get me hands on, so I can watch it and maybe comment on that. If not, I will see, because people will always put quotes up. We'll see what quotes have come for this. But beyond our no illusion, the state of our show is not to be underestimated. And another interesting thing has come out as well, that that Disney didn't bother promoting or didn't throw money at the promotion of the 60th anniversary. This is clearly Disney Doctor Who. They're putting all their money into promoting Shooty's era. This era was designed for Disney, right? It wasn't designed for, that's why it's not on BBC either. I mean, BBC are showing it, but this is why BBC, look at, we can pretend all we want that BBC have control. It looks like they don't. But Disney have a lot more control than we were told and led to believe. Okay? This is Disney Doctor Who. This is why they're promoting this heavily. There is now, right? There's billboards everywhere, right? Not in Ireland, but in the UK. People been putting up pictures. There's billboards everywhere. Some of them even move. There's billboards on buses, right? There's advertisements everywhere for this new era of Shooty Gatwa's Doctor Who, right? There was zero of it for the Tennant specials. So Disney didn't give a shit about the 60th anniversary. As far as they were concerned, it was a separate entity to what they're going to be doing. So this is Disney Doctor Who. We'll be delving more into that with me co-host as usual. So come and join me for that. It'll be a very lively discussion, of course, and I'm pretty sure the chat will be very lively too. But we got plenty to talk about. And then, of course, then I'm going to go back as I promised. It's just taking a little bit longer because I've needed a rest. As you can hear, I'm a bit more fresher. Still a little bit tired, but not as bad as I was. But I'm going to be going to bed early and all tonight and stuff like that. So I should get a little bit more rested up. But I will be doing, as I used to do, highlighting some individual articles and doing videos on them as we used to do back in the day, and posting them up for you guys as well. Keep you all ticking over the Christmas as well. Give you some stuff to keep you occupied as we try do. And of course, we will be live Christmas Day because we'll be doing the Christmas special. So you can come and join us for that as well. But for now, I just want to say again, echo what Christian said. Thank you guys again for all the support. Of course, we will have our New Year's Eve thing as we always do. So I'll thank you again then. But I just want to thank you again for another year of fantastic support. Obviously, the end of this year is going to be is going to end us on a real high because obviously, as you're seeing, the start of the year was great, but then the whole months that preceded that, then the channel was very down and it was in a bad place. But we look like we're going to be ending 2023 on a high, and that's thanks to all you guys that have remained loyal and supportive of the channel. So I just want to thank you all for that, because it does really mean a lot. Another thing you guys can do to show your appreciation is to obviously share our stream. I see a lot of people sharing streams out there. I never see many of my streams being shared. Kind of does kind of, why? When I see other people's streams being shared, nobody seems to want to share mine. So if you could start doing that for me. I know some of you do in the chat. But it'd be nice to see me streams being shared on other platforms there, so we can get out there to a wider audience as well, folks. The next few years for Doctor Who, the Doctor Who fandom is going to need to be represented. Now, while there are bigger YouTubers out there that are covering Doctor Who isn't their speciality. Doctor Who is their speciality. And and I would say any other Who tuber out there that you support, share their streams as well, because they're the guys in the fandom that have stuck with this for 5-6 years, and keep you guys informed of what's going on. I remember in the old days, there'd be articles that people wouldn't even know that had existed until we brought them up. So that's what I want to start doing here again as well, because I always used to find these articles that nobody could get their hands on, or, to be buried. And that's what we want to try and do here again. So, yeah, like, share, and subscribe. And I see a lot of you in the comment section are keeping the comment section very active these days. So, again, I do appreciate all of that. If there's, again, if you just want to put you as a favorite, if you want to list all your Christmas specials, what you rate them, I will. And if you want me to read them out on the second stream, put your name down underneath to say, yeah, I've got your permission, and I'll read out your list on the second part as well. So for now, I'll say good night, folks. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I will talk to you tomorrow again for the Tarda Zone Talks. Where I'll be joined with my usual co-hosts, and we will be discussing Doctor Who. So come and join me, because I've got plenty to say, plenty to get off my chest. And Georgia Tennant as well, we will be talking about her tomorrow, because, I'm just going to say it now, but she's vile. And I'll leave it there. Good night, folks.